Schreiber, Vice Provost for Faculty Administration and a Professor of Political Science.
I'm Michael Mattermore.
Chris Garvin, Professor of Design, Dean, College of Design, Art and Performance.
Greg Dawson with the University's General Counsel's Office.
Greg
McComb, propagandist for the UFF USF chapter and mathematics and statistics.
Karen Bounsberger, Chief Negotiator, UFF, retired faculty of Entrepreneurship and Innovation.
Sonia Ramirez, Bournemouth, instructor of world languages.
Timothy Boaz, Associate Professor Emeritus, College of Behavioral and Community Sciences.
Neat.
Susan Ariev, library.
Great. Well, what we have today is a language for the grievance article. We could share that, but if you want to do something else.
No,
first.
why don't we start with that?
Okay, good. Let me talk about some of the changes that we have made in this proposal. The first one is in 20.2A in the definition of a grievance. So we're not changing the definition of the grievance with this new language. It appears on lines 10 through 12. We're just making it clear that there's an alternative expedited process for assignment disputes. Because having to go through the formal grievance process for an assignment dispute would take such time that would render it really not very helpful in practice. And also we have this alternative that we've negotiated. There's just a housekeeping change at line 101. Instead of the GEMS website, you referenced Oracle. You provided us with some examples of some grievance processes at some other state universities in the system. Florida State, Florida Atlantic University, we looked at those. And we have incorporated what they have, which is a fact find. That process begins on line 127. And so this would occur during the informal resolution period. The university may determine at its discretion to refer the grievance in the informal resolution period to a fact finder for a review of the evidence and a preparation of a non-binding statement of facts. Now, we did talk about there are times when facts are not really an issue, or if it's a legal issue because it's a contract interpretation case, there's no reason to have a fact finder because this individual, this representative as a fact finder is neutral, but they're finding facts. The fact finder, you go to 132 through 136, is someone who is mutually agreeable to the union and the university. And the fact finder, once selected, will serve a term of 1 year, but if it's working out and the parties want to continue the fact finder in that role, they can do that by mutual agreement.
Yeah, apologies. This is all supposed to be in the window.
The whole
Subsection 2 is new.
Yeah. So this is what Steve's talking about is lines 137 to 144, and it's what it's basically defining the role of the fact finder. review documentation, interview parties, with relevant information. Consider other relevant information as appropriate. And then within 30 days, issue a written statement of facts. That are non-binding, but obviously it's something that then has to be taken into consideration going forward. And then, at 166 through 262, we're just taking out language because of the change in the Florida statutes regarding access to arbitration. And we're also striking what 291 to 293, which is basically an inactive grievance, which would have required somebody to file at step 3 and then no action taken up for 90 days. But since step 3 is now eliminated, that language on inactive grievance is no longer applicable. So that's what we have.
So let me just ask a couple of questions
Sure.
to make sure I understand. So when we're talking about Appendix F, we're talking about exclusive assignment dispute resolution procedure. So I just want to make sure that I get this right. When you say the parties agree that any grievance or any claim relating to an individual's assignment will be handled in accordance with process outlined in Appendix F and not under Article 20. So that only targets assignment dispute. Is that correct?
Well,
So, but what do we do with grievances that are not an assignment dispute?
okay, could you give me an example?
Okay, so basically you're saying the parties agree that any grievance or any claim,
Having to do with assignment.
okay, okay, but we already had that in here, didn't we?
We're trying to make it clear
Okay,
that when someone has an assignment dispute and they go to the grievance,
yeah.
they're referred to
Mhm.
Appendix F and the assignment article, because that's where
Okay,
the relief is found.
okay. But then, according to Florida law, we're still allowed to go to arbitration if it's not related to a faculty personnel matter. So I'm not quite sure I understand why this is being struck. Because we do have things that we're grieving that are not faculty personnel decisions.
Okay, it would be helpful if you could give me an example of that.
Well, let me pull out my contract, which is right here. Well, academic freedom and responsibility is not a personnel matter.
Well, I don't know, if someone thought they were adversely acted upon and they thought it was in retaliation for something that they believed to be protected, that would be a personnel matter.
Yeah, but we would let the lawyers figure that one out, because usually academic freedom and responsibility, that's not a personnel matter. That concerns all of us. And
I'm just curious how academic freedom would come up as a grievance in the absence of a personnel matter.
Well, do you mind if we caucus?
Oh, yeah, for
Sure,
sure.
yeah.
Where can we find you?
Probably,
Okay,
but if you wanna,
thank you.
I don't know, if you have a general time frame, we can knock on the door and come back.
15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Karen, I turn
Yes.
it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it up, pause. So if somebody was fired by DeSantis, that wouldn't be a personnel matter.
We've had a long talk. And we think it would be more efficient and productive if we exchange proposals before future meetings. Because having to caucus and then, of course, I mean, we're not going to accept something before we get legal counsel on that. It's just prolonging the process. So could we agree to that? That from now on, when you have a proposal, that you send it to us, let's say 7 days in advance, and we do the same?
Well, if you are at a place, or
Mhm.
we're at a place where we're finished with developing it to the point where it's ready to be exchanged, I think we can do that.
Mhm.
I don't want, I mean, there may be times in which we're working on a proposal closer to the day we meet.
Mhm.
And I'd hate for us not to make progress on that just because we missed some deadline.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to make that aspirational, we can do that.
Okay. Well, because this one here, I mean, there are a couple of things that we do not like about it, so we are going to come up with a counter proposal.
Okay.
And so much about that. Since we were not happy with our salary proposal, we just reworked it and we're going to take a different angle on this. Zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben. Okay.
Thank you.
Greg? Me? Two of you?
I can pass them.
Okay, and make sure we still got some too. Oh, was the second part Appendix A? Do some of you just have Appendix A?
Oh, here's this public employees, this one.
Yeah,
We have to pass that out too.
yeah.
Okay, I'll pass them on.
Oh, I thought they would staple that both together.
And I'll, after, we don't, we do spread it out, that's how they.
Oh.
they say that.
Oh.
Do you need the caucus?
Did you want to explain any of this? or-
I want to explain that we had a meeting and Florida Gulf Coast University shared with us that they did not do a percentage increase. They did a lump sum merit increase, not a bonus, but a lump sum base pay increase of a certain dollar amount. And the reason that we thought that would be a good idea, because we have a lot of faculty contacting us because of the Dallas salary discrepancies among not only the different campuses and but also within departments, that people who have been there longer are being penalized for being loyal to USF. So since we've been haggling over 2% versus 5% for like a year now, we decided, and you did not want to agree to putting equity raises in there, the $500,000 for each year that we proposed. We decided that it would probably, we could meet in the middle by having a lump sum merit increase that would not just come up to a pay increase, but also reduce compression inversion. Okay. So, and the next thing is we took out the 1% ADI, and then we also took out what you proposed, making it contingent on performance-based funding, etc., because we never had that in a prior contract. So there's really no reason for us to agree on that with this contract. And on a side note, it makes the salary article a lot shorter, which saves paper.
Okay,
So agreed to put in Appendix A, because the one that is in the current contract is outdated. So clerk decided for us the job codes that are included and covered by the CBA.
That's what's updated.
So 23,
Right.
this has
Yeah.
been updated since then by whom?
Bob Walker and I signed an MOU with.
Bob Walker?
Yeah, this was right when I started, so your predecessor was.
Walker?
Welker.
Oh, Welker.
Well,
Well, I would
Yeah.
I would appreciate it. It's in-
Should have it. But okay.
Would you be able to kind of share what the rationale is for removing the 1% language? In other words, the university not being able to provide increases for special achievements.
Well, it's hardly ever used anyways. I mean, if we look at past data, it's hardly ever used. And we have faculty who are told, if you want to have a salary increase, you need to come with offers, so they go on the market, and then USF doesn't do counter offers, so we might as well use that 1% for faculty salary increases.
USF doesn't do counter offers?
Yeah,
Very rarely, very rarely.
That's my experience.
not been my experience either.
Well, yeah.
So I guess, and then, so you said this $5,000 is meeting in the middle?
Yeah.
Because let's say somebody makes $100,000 a
Mhm,
year,
yeah.
that's 5% a year.
Mhm.
So let's say the middle between 5% and 2% is 3.5%.
Not going there.
So I guess $5,000 is 3.5% of.
We also
Seems like
have
it's
faculty,
closer to
we
5%.
have a ton of faculty who make $200,000 in college and business.
And I'm
I'm
also,
not quite sure that we need to give them a hefty percentage increase.
but I guess
I'm worried is for the compression issue, because the way I understand it, a new assistant professor that was hired at a higher rate than an assistant professor 20 years ago
Mm.
is going to get a 5% or more raise. And then a professor that I've had for a while that it makes more than that, and they might be a full professor, but because of just they started at a lower place, is making more than that, say over 100, they're going to get a smaller percentage raise. I'm actually
Not with
increasing
that.
compression.
Not with that, if you give a lump sum increase. If we have an accounting professor that comes right out of the PhD program and is hired at $220,000 for a 9 months period, and that person gets a $5,000 lump sum increase, that is a much lower percentage than increase than for a faculty member who makes $50,000.
Sure, in economics and the business school, that is true, but that's an outlier. Our biggest college is College of Arts and Sciences, and they're hiring assistant professors at a much lower salary. And colleges like art and education are hiring at much lower salaries.
So you don't believe that these people have deserved a pay increase that is healthy, considering
This
with the.
seems to make compression worse, not
Yeah,
better,
and then
for the vast majority of
same with
colleges.
equity, I don't see how if you just give everyone the same, the equity is gonna change. That part's confusing too, if you have two faculty members, one's on Sarasota, one's on Tampa, they're the same rank, same department. One's making $100,000 and one's making $80,000, then by this, one's making $105,000. One's making $85,000. It doesn't
And
seem like the
with-
equity shrunk at all.
Which of these two will get the higher percentage increase?
A little bit, but equity is not about percentage. Equity is about making them closer together.
Yeah, but they are getting closer together.
Can
If the,
can the mathematician make a comment?
yeah, but please I'm sorry, if you're afraid to give your code to somebody.
Yeah, don't.
Could you
give them-
please stand over there and take off that mask and talk to us, because I can't hear you.
Okay. For someone earning $50,000, $5,000 is a 10% raise.
Mhm.
For someone earning $100,000, 5% is $5,000 is a 5% raise. For someone earning $200,000, 5,000 is a 2.5% raise. This is counter to compression inversion.
Mhm.
But not equity, because equity is for the people who are making less to bring them up to the ones.
Yeah, but
You don't give everyone a raise in equity, you give the people who are making less to make them closer to the people who are making more, so I don't see how it addresses the equity issue.
Steve, we had that in our last salary proposal, that we set aside $500,000 each year for equity raises, but you decided not to agree to that. So we came up with something that would reduce the gap between the high earners and the low earners, and basically would allow you or us to take out the equity raises, because this is going to bring them closer. And I'm a mathematician too, so.
Well, I understand that, but I still don't see how. Again, if you have somebody, same people, one's making 100, one's making 85. Now one's making 105, one's making 90, there's still a gap. The gap closure would be to give the person making 85 closer to 100.
Yeah, but we've had equity,
then everyone gets
we've had equity raises a couple of years ago. And they actually didn't close the gap that much. The highest equity raise that you were willing to give as a university was $5,000. The buckets that you put faculty members in to decide who was going to get how many $1,000s of an annual increase didn't really make a lot of sense. And I'm going to give you an example here. I've never complained of being underpaid because I'm not. And then the one person that I ended up with in the bucket with is our former president, Corral. And I magically got that $5,000 equity increase, which was the highest increase possible that year, because there were only 2 people in that bucket. So it doesn't make any sense how
I
it's
was
been.
at campus one, I signed equity increases all the time where faculty are brought up, where there's evidence that they're being paid lower than people in the same department, and they're brought up to close to the same. They're one-offs per faculty, not across the board lump sums.
But then why did you not agree to the equity salary increases that we put into our last proposal? You said you were not going to entertain that.
We didn't say we weren't gonna entertain equity raises, we said we're not prepared to have them in the contract, which an actual set number. Equity is still in the contract, we can give equity raises, that's in the contract. It's been in there for as long as I can remember.
And why does my phone ring all the time, faculty complaining that they don't get equity increases? So, I mean, we need to put this in the contract. And since you do not agree to former versions of our proposals, we decided that this was probably the closest we could get to.
Okay,
All right.
so we obviously have to take this back. I will say this,
Mhm.
as I've been over the last couple of weeks. As I've been going to different
Mhm.
bargaining sessions at universities, I was at Miami-Dade College yesterday with the faculty. What I keep hearing is a recognition by everybody to the process, to the faculty union as well as the administration, that there's a lot going on in terms of funding like that. A
Mhm.
lot happening in Washington,
Mhm.
a lot happening with the Department of Education,
Mhm.
a lot happening with policies. And I'm not making a political statement to say whether I agree or disagree with any of these policies. It's a reality of our negotiations, but there's policies that could affect universities and colleges throughout Florida's enrollment.
Mhm.
So there's that we have a freshly minted appropriations from Tallahassee, and we have to figure out what that is gonna mean for us. So all of this is like I said, the term of art that I keep hearing is uncertainty.
Mhm.
So we will take this back, but obviously we're not authorized for this.
Okay, I do understand and I fully expected that. But also one word, we are familiar with the uncertainties. We suffer from them. We've also suffered a loss in salary purchasing power of over 14% during the years of the last, the 3 years of the last contract, which we're trying to recover. And then one thing, as faculty, we're not willing to basically finance the university. And I see a lot of knots back there. So,
Does anybody have any questions?
And then, so I'm just. One quick one, so these are called merit increases, correct?
excuse me.
You're calling these merit increases?
Yeah, and it also
So-
explains who is
Right, so
going
why
to get
would
those.
somebody on a performance improvement plan, which is deficiency in an area, be eligible for a merit? That was.
Okay,
apologize.
I-
Needed to be. Sure.
that's fine, but and because of the game, that's called PTR. A lot of the people who are on post-tenure, a lot of people who are on post-tenure review are actually really good people who have age values that are impressive. And some of the chairs have been using the PTR and imposing their own rules that were not voted upon by faculty to get even with faculty members. And it happens, it really happens. And so as long as we have PTR, which is very arbitrary, I don't think, or we don't think we should have that little thing in there, because we don't want to penalize faculty who have been caught in the PTR chaos.
Okay.
Well, it is.
Okay.
I mean, try to view this from the point of view of a faculty member, what's been happening to us. We used to have tenure and then it's yanked, okay? We used to, I mean, it's like our benefits are being hammered away, and now they also took away tenure. And then when we grieve, and I'm going to present that next time, we lose most of our grievances, even though they're perfectly good grievances. So the view that faculty by now have is that we are not viewed by the university as important as contributing to the growth and the health of the university. We feel like we're considered like a cost center, and you're trying to squeeze as much as possible out of us with pulling more money away from us. And that's just something I think that needed to be said. And I like all of you individually. I just don't like what the university has become.
Well, in terms of what we've put on the table today,
Mm-hmm.
that's really driven by state statute, not by the university's administration. And we're willing to, you know, entertain your counter.
Okay, we are going to be working on the counter. We are going to get with Tallahassee to come up with something really, really good. And we're also going to consult with the chief negotiators of the other state universities.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, it's, you know, same with post-tenure review, that was proposed. We had a faculty consultative process that included members of the faculty senate, came up with a system and awarded 90+% of the faculty bonuses.
Yeah, that's it. That's something else that didn't originate with the administration.
Right, did not originate with us, it was imposed on us.
I do understand that it was imposed on you, but I also understand that there have been some political things within certain colleges where people in power penalized faculty members they didn't like. Okay, I'm not going to name any names, not in public, but I would be more than happy to talk to you personally.
Happy to have that conversation, because that's not been my experience.
It has been mine.
Hey, Jerry.
They usually come to me if they have.
Okay, all right, anything else?
Oh, just a minute. Lauren.
Oh, yeah, he has something to say.
About.
He doesn't have COVID, it's just a simple.
I don't want to get a cold, I'm vaccinated against COVID, not a.
I don't have a fever, so it's not COVID. Anyway, about PTR, you may recall that I have asked for the number of people at several different levels. I sent in public information requests several times. And the only time I got a response was with numbers that were incorrect.
Mhm.
So I would like an accurate response to that PR request.
So how many people went through PTR? How many got a 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah, how many people, what the recommendations at the dean's level were, what the decisions at the provost level were, it's all in the PR request. I handed it out last time. I would like to have a response. I will make one comment about that. That PIR, which was incorrect, we know it's incorrect because it reports fewer people being dinged than we actually know were dinged.
Mhm.
Every single one of those people who were dinged more seriously at the provost level than at the college level. According to the incorrect that we already got from the general counsel's office. But we don't know if that's true. We don't know how much it was these figures. We would like the correct figures. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, have a productive week.
Yep. you too.
Have a safe week.
Be in touch with that.
Okay.
For the, if you don't.
Thank you.
Do you want me to say?
Probably,
Could you ask your members whether they could do September 10th?
September 10, is that the earliest you would be able to?
Well, I have to take care of my mom. I'm flying back to Germany.
Okay, sorry to hear that. Let me write it down.
Yes.